Hi, welcome to the Australian Gamer Show. I'm Yug.
I'm Matt.
Tonight, we're going to be talking about GDC.
The Game Boy's 20th anniversary.
The dishwasher.
And the DSi's launch.
Well, when I say dishwasher, it's a game, by the way, for those that don't know. I didn't want to just say we're talking about a dishwasher.
Yeah, a bit of Fisher and Paykel coverage here.
Action, you know.
We're branching out. We started off looking at a bit of the PC hardware, and eventually the natural progression is just white goods.
Yeah, and white goods doesn't include the general PC and the Xbox.
Yeah,
you know,
they're white.
It is white. Yeah, that's right.
Some of the Game Boys are white.
Although they don't really.
DS's come in white.
Yeah, but this is the first thing that cleans your dishes.
What?
The dishwasher.
No.
I lost it. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to apologise. We haven't done a podcast for the last 2 weeks. Comes down to the typical usual excuses that we could ramble off.
One of them you were away, and the other was I was useless.
There we go. But we do apologise. I actually got an email from a couple.
We both got the same email.
Yeah, from someone that was actually really upset that we hadn't done a podcast.
He was basically saying, look, can you please just do it regularly like professionals? Which is a valid point.
It is. Could you be professional?
Mm.
I always thought the definition of a professional was someone that got paid.
That is, in fact, the specific definition of professional.
And therein lies the twist.
Yeah, we can do it like professionals,
Yes.
but not as professionals.
No, exactly. But yeah, let's talk about games and stuff. I guess the big thing that we really missed. Do we want to jump straight into GDC? Or?
Yeah, we might as well. It's kind of the gamiest topic we have.
GDC, the Game Developers Conference, was held over in San Francisco this week, just gone. And yeah, look, I think...
Being San Francisco, the Gay Developers Conference was also held there.
Was it?
It's just
that
made that up.
Would be awesome, though. I mean, actually in Brisbane, there's the Queer Film Festival.
I know, I saw that was
this week. So I'd like to think games will get to such a level that there'll be an independent game. Yeah, Queer Games Festival.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. I don't know what the games would be, and more importantly, I don't think I'd actually want to play them.
I bet one's like Tetris. Particularly with...
No, I get it. It's all good. There's not really that much to come out of GDC. It's an event.
I was a little surprised. Normally there's a lot from GDC, especially with E3 down.
But E3's not down this year. That's the point. E3 is back bigger and badder than ever this year.
Well, not better than ever, but better than it has been for the last couple of years.
This is true. I've been getting emails from all the publishers basically saying, in Australia, saying, are you going to E3? Because if you are, we're going to blow your balls off.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that people contact us with questions like that. Clearly, they don't know us very well.
Yeah, I know. It's like, well, thanks for thinking of us.
Yeah. We should try to get like a little bit of money from each of the people that contact us to ask that question, like pass the hat around. Yeah.
But yeah, look, there was a few things to come out of GDC. I'm just going to go through them briefly. First of all, there was Nintendo's keynote. They did two particular things. One I found most interesting was they announced that the Wii has actually sold 50 million units worldwide, which is a lot.
That is a fair amount.
It is a fair amount. And it's impressive.
If they were, say, carrots...
Yes.
If each Wii was represented by a carrot...
I'm not sure where you're going, but okay.
You would have 50 million carrots.
Yeah.
It's not really an analogy.
No, not really.
It's more just carrots.
Yeah, you just like carrots.
But there'd be a lot of carrots.
There'd be a fuckload of them.
Yes.
And there are a fuckload of Wiis out there. Congratulations to all the casual people that bought them and all the hardcore gamers that haven't played them recently.
Yeah, well, no. Dusted.
House of the Dead, Overkill.
Yep.
Yeah, Mad World.
And Mad World have both come out recently and both giving people a reason to actually scrape the dust off their...
Good on you, Sega, for those ones. Thanks for renewing our interest in the system ever so slightly.
And in Sega.
And in Sega? Did I say... I
did
say Sega.
I know.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I'm saying that.
Yep, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there was that. They also showed a new Zelda game, Spirit Tracks, which is coming out on the DS, which looks exactly like... Oh, fuck.
Wind Waker.
Good. I always say Wind Walker.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, okay. Wind Waker and Phantom Hour.
Wind Walker Texas Ranger, I think is the...
yeah, no.
Could you imagine Chuck Norris
as Link?
This is a cel-shaded...
Actually, no, Norris? Chuck Norris would be more the Ganondorf, because he's that tall.
Do you know what Chuck Norris would look like as a cel-shaded cartoon?
Who?
You know the little thing that's chained onto in Mario 64 that's kind of chained to a post and leaps out of Bow Wow, I think it's called.
You mean the big cannonball looking thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Chuck Norris. That's what
it's just a black ball with teeth.
Yeah, but that's what he'd be.
Yeah.
If he was cell shaded, because the beard,
right,
and the hair would all just combine to make just
this one mean monster of death, black and white,
and he would have to be chained down.
Of course, he's Chuck Norris.
If he could be chained down,
and he couldn't,
and he would only still be there because he wants to be.
That's right, because he's Chuck Norris as a Bow Wow. The fuck? I'm sure they're not called Bow Wows, man.
I think they might be.
Well, if they aren't, I hope you're embarrassed.
Oh, I don't care.
But yeah, look, Spirit Tracks. It looks exactly the same as Phantom Hourglass, so it's that cartoony, cel-shaded look.
Can I just say for the record?
Yeah.
It looks fucking retarded.
Yeah, I'm done. Did you say that about Phantom Hourglass as well? Did you say that about Wind?
I found Phantom Hourglass fucking retarded.
Yeah. See, exactly. So
it was. Oh wait, Phantom Hourglass, was that the
DS?
Yeah, that was shit.
Yeah, right.
Shit.
Okay, well, anyway, look, the good thing about this one is...
There's a choo-choo train?
Yes, there's a train. At least it's not a boat.
But it's just a train! How is that better? You know what you can do on a boat that you can't do on a fucking train? Turn left.
Yeah. You know what you can do on a train you can't do on a boat? Damn, this isn't going to work. Fire cannonballs. This this is a feature on the train in Zelda.
Was it a feature on the boat as well?
No.
Well, sure you could fire cannonballs on the boat.
I'm pretty sure you can't. No, I'm pretty sure you can't. I could be wrong. It could be absolutely wrong.
I know you could in Phantom Hourglass.
Right, okay.
Maybe I'm getting confused.
Yeah.
Because they were the fucking same.
Anyway, you can drive a train, and you get a little cap and everything like that.
Oh,
there
is
one
the Minish cap?
There is one new piece of equipment, which is actually kind of cool. You can shoot out
boomerang that comes back to you?
No, you can shoot out this cyclone thing, right? But
that's new, cyclone thing.
But to actually project the path of the cyclone, you draw its path on the DS with the stars at the bottom. So say you go, here's where I want to go through this level or map, and then you shoot it, and that's exactly the path it takes.
Did you play Phantom Hourglass? That's exactly what you did with the fucking boomerang in Phantom Hourglass.
Yeah, but this one doesn't come back.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to see them breaking new ground with the Zelda franchise.
Other stuff, well, what do you expect? They're not going to do that.
Yeah, well, kill him. You know what? Kill him or make him old or make him an old man. Did you know that Link is always left-handed?
No, I didn't know that.
Link is always left-handed except in the Wii version of Twilight Princess.
What the fuck? Oh, because of course
they mirrored the entire game from the
GameCube version.
The GameCube version and the Wii version are actually mirror images of each other. They flipped the whole game to make his control be right-handed.
That's weird.
I know, I ran across that the other day and I'm like, oh my god, that's the most awesome thing.
Yeah, I have no response to that. Yeah, let's move on. Other stuff from GDC. OnLive.
OnLive is an interesting service. I originally thought it was related to the Xbox, but it's just not.
No, it's I think it's two other developers that have actually gone through this, and actually they used to do game development. Now they've started this service where you can play any game you want on your TV because it's actually, imagine this. Imagine your video recording. Oh, no, I'm not going to.
You're not really very good at explaining.
No, I'm not. You do it.
It's basically using your computer to as just a portal to another computer.
Well, not yeah. Okay. Yep.
So you're essentially a terminal at your end, and the actual computing is done on a remote computer that could be like 74,000 times more powerful than your own.
It's like,
and then it just beams back.
You're controlling the game through your TV. It's sending the commands through to some computer that's playing this game. They're sending you a video feed of that game being played to your TV. So in essence, if it's fast enough, it looks like you're playing the actual game.
But that if is a pretty thoroughly big if.
Well, it certainly is for us here in Australia. I can't imagine this coming out here in the next 5 years.
Well, they actually said that the required connection speed for
high def
standard definition is like 1 gigasecond.
Yep.
And the standard for high definition
10?
is 5, I think it was.
Okay. Yep.
5 gigasecond is pretty high, and I think that a standard connection, an ADSL connection, ADSL2 connection, which is about as fast as you're going to get here, is only 2.4 gigs. So I could just be wrong on the number of zeros.
Can get up to 15,000.
Yeah, but that's meg, not gig.
Yeah.
So
really,
I think it's 2.4 gig a second or maybe, whatever.
I'm not sure. I just kind of jumped to the conclusion that Australia can't do this.
Yeah, because we're shit.
So it's interesting.
Thanks, Conroy.
It's interesting, but it's great for us to sit over here and go, wow, that looks fascinating for other people, and that's pretty much all we can do.
Yeah, I think that even in the United States, they're going to have some issues with it, because I can't think of that many types of games that I really want to have to send my commands to another server and then get a response back. But even with the fastest connection possible, latency isn't based on that. Ping times are still not based on.
But for example, like I don't have a PlayStation 3 downstairs. I could play something like Valhalla Knights. Was that the one? Knights. Yeah, which is an RPG.
Yeah,
now see, that would be.
You'd certainly have some genres that are more suitable than others. And fighting games, for example,
that would be cheaper. Actually, no. Again, it wouldn't be cheaper here in Australia because I go through 40
yeah, that's
gig
true.
a month.
The amount of
would
bandwidth
be nuts.
Would be
ridiculous. So like I said, interesting, fascinating, interesting tech. But we can just ignore this for a bit, I think.
The funny thing is, this has actually been done before. There was a company that were recently doing something very similar. I can't remember the name of them now. But someone who was looking at partnering with them contacted me for my input, and they were actually doing the same thing with mobile phones, letting you interact using a mobile phone. They would beam you back video. The principle
doesn't this come through the World of Warcraft thing? Isn't that what they're
World
trying to do
of
with
Warcraft was one they were actually going to interface with, and the other was
how the fuck do you do World of Warcraft on your mobile phone?
Well, for a start, you don't.
Right.
Like you don't raid like that.
You just do auctions and things
like
that.
You might check your auctions. You might log in and say hi to some of your friends on there. You might.
What kind, with all due respect,
what kind of fuckwit needs that?
Yeah.
Me.
There we go. Other stuff, there was a GDC, there was a new Modern Warfare game that was announced from Infinity Ward. They didn't show anything of it. But they did say it's coming out later this year.
What does that mean?
That's kind of cool. Call of Duty 4
okay.
was Modern Warfare.
Right.
I'm not sure if it's a Call of Duty game. It might just be a Modern Warfare sequel. I don't know much more about it than this. Of course, GDC, they honour the games that have been made this particular year or whatnot. The Game of the Year award from GDC was Fallout 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
So that's all I got. There were other games that were nominated, like Grand Theft Auto 4 and other games as well.
Metal Gear Solid 4.
Metal Gear Solid 4.
One of them. Did Resident Evil get a nod, or was it a bit...
No, too recent. Oh god, there were a couple of other ones that were really, really...
Little Big Planet, I think, was one.
Yeah, Little...
Prolific?
Prolific?
Do you mean prolific?
Prolific. That's what... Prolific.
Right.
That's what I meant to say.
Right.
You knew what I meant, though, so that's all that matters.
No, I didn't. I had to check. I wouldn't have asked otherwise. I would have just done, yeah, whatever.
So yeah, that's all it was at GDC, although I do want to actually just mention one other thing. I had a friend of mine that came back recently, and I was like, hey, what was GDC like? He's like, well, it was big. There were a lot of people there. But I think that's because a lot of people registered a long time ago. Usually at GDC, you go up to people and go, oh, how you doing? Who are you? Oh, well, I work in such and such. This year, you go up to people and say, oh, who are you? They're like, oh, I'm actually looking for work. What do you do?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of people weren't ex-developers looking for work.
Well, that's not a good sign of the times.
No. But not all that surprising.
No.
But that's the impression he got from the majority of it, sort of thing.
Turning into a meat market.
Well, I mean, it always was that sort of thing. The Queensland Games were over there, for example, with a big stand, all that kind of thing. And one of their big things is, Queensland's awesome. Look at the sunshine. Look at the people. It's a lifestyle choice. Come here, work and play and join our companies because they need them.
Is that still the case, though? Like, I know not that long ago.
There is no other reason for Queensland Games to go over to GDC.
No, I get that, but I just wondered whether that market is still as necessary. I mean, considering the companies that have gone bankrupt recently and so on.
They're still after staff,
still
and
after
most importantly, developers here are always after experienced staff.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, there's no lack of new people coming out of high school. I did a talk at QT last week. I didn't actually plan for it very well. I thought it was going to be a 20-minute talk and there'd be like, 5 or 6 people there, but it was an hour talk with like a room full of 50 people.
Right.
And I hadn't actually written any notes or anything like
Nice.
that. And they were mostly students, and it came up to like, what's your advice for getting in the industry and all this kind of thing, because I am in the industry now.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Of course
I know. And yeah, it's something I've noticed, which is if you're starting out, man, you're going to have a really hard time at the moment. Yeah. Told them all they should go through QA.
Did you?
Yep. I think it doesn't matter if you got a degree or not. You need the humbling experience.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's move on from GDC.
Sure. Okay. We got other gaming stuff.
Game Boy.
It is the 20th birthday of the Game Boy.
Yeah, that's an incredible amount of time for a console.
Well, I've actually...
Well, for a brand. I think it's more a brand than a console.
Well, it is. Yeah. It's well, actually, no. The Nintendo DS is the first time they didn't call it the Game Boy.
Yeah, no, I know. But really, there was no particular connection between the Game Boy Advance and the Game Boy.
Yeah.
Like, the others have been iterations of the same technology.
Yeah, good point. Actually, I got some stats of this. So it's 20th birthday. It sold around 120 million units in its 14-year production run, which was twice as many as the NES, I think.
Wow.
And then came the Game Boy Advance. The Game Boy wasn't discontinued until 2003.
Yeah.
That's the dodgy brick of a fucking Game Boy.
Well, no. I think they mean the whole...
Actually, no. It was the Game Boy and the Game Boy...
Micro. The last of the series was
Game
the
Boy
Game
Color.
Boy Micro. They were still...
Game Boy Micro? Does that fall under the same banner? Because Game Boy Advance was a different system.
Yeah. The Game Boy Micro... Oh,
yes, it was.
Was the Micro an Advance?
No. Oh, yes,
yeah, the Micro
was
an Advance.
So it was the Game Boy, then the Game Boy Color, which is the same tech, and Pocket. And then the Game Boy Advance came out in 2001, and that pretty much stopped production. Yeah. And the only other systems at the time was the Atari Lynx and the Sega Game Gear. A lot of people ask why, the Game Boy did so well. The screen was crappy and all this kind of thing compared to the Game Gear and the Atari Lynx, which were awesome systems. The Game Boy was half as cheap and on 4 AA batteries, ran for 15 hours longer.
Yeah.
And had Tetris.
Yeah, I was going to say there's 2 reasons that it really did so well. One was that I don't know about everyone else, but I didn't know what the Lynx was. The Lynx and the Game Gear was later for a start.
Yeah.
And the Lynx, I don't think anyone really heard of. It had like 7 games.
No, I knew about the Atari Lynx. Yeah, I knew about the Atari Lynx. But I didn't have one. Couldn't fucking afford one.
They were really expensive. And the other reason, as you said, is Tetris. Tetris was an awesome title.
You know what the funny thing is? Back then I knew shitloads of people that had a Game Boy. But they never used them as a portable system. They'd have them in the lounge room, plugged in or whatever, and they'd just play the games there. They never took them anywhere.
Yeah.
Which was really weird.
I had one of the first Game Boys. I think I might have told you that. I had one of the first Game Boys in Australia. We had a Japanese exchange student came over, and he had one with him. And we were amazed. We'd never heard of anything like this because this was back in the days before. Like, everyone knows what products are coming everywhere around the world now, thanks
because
to
of the internet.
But back then, people we weren't aware of what was coming, and it was amazing. It was like a Master System, but it was portable.
Yep.
Because we had Master Systems, we didn't have Nintendo.
Yep.
But we were really blown away by this thing, and he actually left it with us, and we had
good on him.
Japanese version of
Mario?
Tetris.
Tetris, yeah.
Quite a while. And something else.
Japanese version of Tetris, that's kind of okay.
Yeah, well, it was very westernized anyway. It had all the menus and stuff were in English anyway.
Wasn't the original game Russian?
Well, yeah, the original game was Russian, but the one that was released in Japan was, in fact, basically American, English.
Right.
Most games are actually English. If you see a lot of Japanese games, they're actually fully in English anyway.
Sure.
Because they like it. Because it looks cool.
Yep, fair enough. The Game Boy, 20 years on, very, very, very prolific. Sorry.
Which I guess brings us neatly to the next topic of the DSi.
Yeah.
DSi got released.
Did they time that to the... I wonder if they did.
Maybe they did.
Because mind you, there's 20 years ago that launched, the Game Boy launched in Japan. Like, launched. It didn't launch in the States for another 6 months, or 3 months, I think.
Yeah, it was quite a while later.
DSi is finally out here in Australia.
The DS, even though, as you said, the Game Boy system has sold, what did you say, 150
million?
The DS system, and that covers quite a few different products. The DS system, by contrast, has actually sold over 100 million as well. Only over like 2 or 3 products.
For what it's worth, the only system that sold more than the Game Boy was the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
And the DS is, definitely catching up. Differences with the DSi, it's got a camera on the front and the back of it. It's got a wider, brighter screen. Yep. And it's not touchscreen on both sides, is it?
I don't believe so.
No,
I think
it's
early
not. We got
rumors
tricked
said
on
it
that
would
one,
be.
didn't we? Yeah. The Game Boy Advance slot disappears entirely.
Yep.
It's gone. Is it thinner? Probably.
It is smaller. It's thinner.
Anna actually got one. She bought one in Japan a while ago and has been trying to tell us all about it, but I've been too lazy to put her article up.
Oh, really?
I'll put that up this week. I sense it's appropriate now. So yeah, it's out. And is it? I guess the question is, for anyone that already owns a DS, is it worth it?
Well, I'm going to go with fuck no.
Right.
I think not only is it not an upgrade.
Yeah.
Because you get a shitty camera.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I got a phone with a shitty camera, so I'm good for shitty cameras.
No, but dude, have you seen the ad on TV? There's 2 really good-looking 20-something-year-old people. They're obviously a couple. They're taking photos of each other, and they're manipulating the photos with the stylus. It is awesome.
I know what I'd be doing with photos.
I do too. And you need to manipulate it too.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, the thing has sold, like the DSi has sold really well in Japan. Since it's been out, they've sold more than 2 million units of it in just a couple of months that it's been out.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing's basically, more popular than syphilis, but I would actually put it in roughly the same league. It adds nothing, and one thing that the ads don't tell you is the battery life.
Right.
The battery life of the DS has always been really good. The DS Fat and DS Lite have both been really, really good.
Yeah. Okay.
I think they've got a battery life. I meant to look this up, but I think they've both got a battery life of like 8 to 10 hours, something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
The DSi is like 3.5.
What?
It's got, and just because you said it's bigger screen and it's a thinner thing, they do that by reducing the battery.
Jesus, I wasn't aware of that.
A lot of people aren't, but the battery life of the DSi, I should probably check this up and make sure that I'm.
You should,
right,
yeah.
But to my understanding, and anyone who's looking at buying one, check up on the battery life and see if it, because the DS, one of the real appeals of the DS has always been the ability to take it when traveling.
DS and Game Boy, as a brand, Nintendo's portable systems, that's one of the big selling points always.
They're really good for long-distance travel because the battery lasts such a fucking long time, especially by comparison to things like the PSP.
Yeah.
But it's much more in that league now. It's
weird.
Substantially lower than a lot of people realise.
I actually can't see any reason for buying a DSi until there's at the very least one decent game. No doubt it'll be a Mario or a Zelda or a Metroid game that actually utilises the camera to some sort of effect.
Yeah, I couldn't see it being used in anything but a gimmick, but I couldn't see the touchscreen being used in as anything but a gimmick either.
No, of course not.
So
actually, I've been playing Chinatown Wars lately on the DS. I finished it and I'll go review it. But just to say, it would be an awesome game if it wasn't for the DS touchscreen.
Really?
Yes. Because every time you steal a fucking car, well, not every time, but most times you steal a parked motherfucking car, you then have to go through this mini game of actually crossing the wires and all this kind of thing. That would be okay if it weren't for the fact that you never use the stylus ever.
So you got to get the fucking thing out.
I'm driving it like this, using both hands, with my left hand controlling it, right hand doing the accelerating, all this kind of thing. So as soon as I jump in the car, I need to drop my right hand, pick up the stylus, and do it. Also because the things that it asks you to do to steal the car, like twist wires, I can't do with my fucking thumb.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't work. So that gimmick gets in the way of playing the game.
That sucks.
But anyway, sorry, that was a bit of a rant.
No, fair enough.
I was a little bit annoyed about that.
What else did we have? The dishwasher.
The dishwasher, which, like we said before, isn't actually a white good that we're about to talk about.
It's a game.
It's a game.
And the dishwasher.
I just wanted to briefly talk about it because I thought it's awesome.
Okay.
It's your typical side-scrolling platformer.
Yeah, I was playing it a bit before, actually.
It's on Xbox Live, came out on 1st of April, which was my birthday, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Probably should have mentioned that. Happy birthday, Yug.
It's kind of funny because...
fucking cunt.
There we go. I say to people that don't know me that well, oh yeah, today's my birthday. They're like, whatever. No, it really is my birthday. Yeah, whatever. No,
I
dude,
love
look,
that.
here's my fucking license.
April Fool's Day is your birthday.
It
The
d-
official day of fuckwits is your birthday.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, no problem. I actually very kindly didn't give Yogi a birthday present this year because the only thing I would have given him was the same thing he got me last year, which was that he walked up and punched me full in the stomach.
Didn't I get you something else? I'm sure I got you something else.
Possibly a kick in the balls to go with my
I'm
punch
sure
in the
I got
stomach.
you like a present or something, didn't I?
No, you got me something for Christmas.
Yeah, that's good enough.
No, whatever.
It's close enough.
That's the same. The dishwasher looks kind of cool. It's got an interesting art style.
Hold on, I'm not finished talking about me yet.
Oh, whatever.
I just wanted to also say that my girlfriend Lauren, she got me a personalised number plate for my birthday. Now my car will actually have Yug81, which is my birth date, as the license plate, which is highly pretentious and highly awesome at the same time, and I feel quite suitable to me.
Highly pretentious and highly awesome pretty much describes you mostly. One minor inaccuracy in there.
What's that?
Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, the dishwasher.
The dishwasher. Sorry. Okay. This is a Xbox Live game. Someone said it was by the guys that did Castle Crashers. I actually think they were full of shit.
No, that sounds right to me.
Does it?
In hearing that, a part of my brain went, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." Maybe I'm wrong.
It does look very Castle Crashers-ish. It doesn't have that 3D sort of
bit of alien
3D playing
there as well.
Yeah. But it was a Xbox XNA game. Like 3 years ago. It won an award or something, I think, in 2005. And obviously it's been picked up, done up, and looks a lot better than it did back then. But it's awesome. I don't even know why it's called Dishwasher. I don't even know what the story is. It's got some cool looking suicide. What was that? There's an internet cartoon that's like black and white and bleak and with blood and guts. And
Do you mean Butch?
No.
The guy called Butch.
I'm not sure.
I think I might know the one you're talking about, but
Okay. Anyway, but yeah, it's cool. It's just a side-scrolling beat 'em up. You have a huge machete thing. You do a whole bunch of combos and stuff. Now here's the thing. Apparently you can do 2-player co-op where the second person uses a guitar.
To do what?
I don't know. I was hoping you guys would get it working down there.
Yeah, we tried, but we couldn't really get it happening.
Right.
Unless the guitar was supposed to do nothing.
I don't know.
In which case we successfully achieved that goal.
Right, well there you go. That's great.
We'll have to look into it and find out what's required. It may also require the full version to do that.
Actually, that's a good point. So we might. I'm actually probably going to get it and check it out. To be honest,
Yeah,
I actually like the look of it. But I just want to actually throw onto there that it's kind of cool to see games from XNA going on to this sort of thing. Halfbrick, for example, they've just announced they're doing 4 games on XNA.
Well, it's cool to say and everything that XNA games are happening, but let's not forget that XNA games are available in the US.
Yes,
but
and they're not available here in Australia.
Yeah, and it seems to me uncool to congratulate Microsoft on fucking us over consistently.
In Australia.
Yeah.
Apparently, from what I've been told by people that are actually working on XNA games, it's not Microsoft. It's the OFLC, the classification board.
Really?
Yes.
So they can't get them classified here or something?
No, they can't.
Why?
Because they can't.
But do you know what it probably is?
What?
That it would cost money to get them classified.
And since
the last thing they want to do
Yeah.
is have to pay money to get other people's games classified.
Yeah, that might be it.
That would make sense, which suggests that America doesn't have to pay, which is probably true because it's a voluntary industry rating.
Yeah.
So yeah, that could we may have solved that little mystery. And I'm not saying great Microsoft now, because that's fair enough.
Okay, no, but it still sucks.
It
because it does seem like there's a lot of cool stuff that goes on there first before it hits Xbox Live at least. So yeah. Anyway,
seeing as you're talking about the Xbox Live stuff, I had a bit of a look at the PlayStation 3 PlayStation Store.
PlayStation Network, yeah.
Yeah, because they update every Friday.
Right.
And there were a couple of videos on there that I thought were interesting. Have you heard of a game called Split Second?
Is that from the guys that did Mashed?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't care who the guys are.
Or is it a Mashed kind of game?
It's a racing kind of game.
Top down?
No.
Okay. No, I don't know.
Oh, well, it doesn't appear to be. It appears to be more... Well, the video was just cinematic, but I assumed it looked kind of Burnout Takedown-ish.
Oh, okay, right.
And it basically the track in which you drive is an abandoned city, and you can blow shit up.
Okay, that's always a good thing.
You can actually blow up freeways so they fall on the other drivers, and
All right.
And like there's a crane overhead that you can make drop its load, and
Okay, well that's kind of cool.
In this like stormwater drain, you can trigger the
Water to come out and blast them away.
Yeah,
or
the cars
wash
behind
them
you.
away.
Yeah,
Or just make them clean.
Or just clean them off.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so there's a lot of potential in that for some kind of fun gameplay, but how it works or how it's done, I have no idea. But I guess we'll see. It's one to keep watching out.
So it's gameplay, but not the actual demo or anything like that.
They didn't show gameplay. They just showed a cinematic. And normally I wouldn't talk about cinematics that
but
much,
it did
it
sound and look kind of cool. Yeah.
And the other one that I saw was Ruse. Have you heard of that one?
That's the one from Ubisoft.
Yeah, Ubisoft.
That was actually one of the other big ones that was announced at GDC. Now this is a strategy game for the PC and consoles.
Yep.
And it's very much about hiding your strategies.
Yeah, your moves and your attacks can be deceptions rather than real attacks.
So you could send through like a fleet for a beach landing, like a whole bunch of ships, and when they arrive, they're just stuffed soldiers.
Yeah.
That was in the video, I think. Stuffed soldiers while your real attack is coming from the side. The video was a bit wanky, though.
The video was wanky, and also I thought lacked an opportunity that could have been there to show something clever. Like, what he actually did was he got all the, like he staged an attack coming in this way.
Yeah.
And then all the troops, all the tanks and stuff were there and waiting, and it wasn't a real attack.
Yeah.
But then it was a real attack.
I know.
But all the fucking troops are right there waiting now.
I know.
Wouldn't you pretend to be attacking somewhere and then attack somewhere else? Wouldn't that be the point of that?
You can't criticize these guys. Did
Yes,
you
I
see
can.
them?
They did. They were very serious.
They looked like they were from Gillette commercials.
They did, didn't they? They did look very serious. I
was expecting some voiceover to go, the Mach 5, the closest shave. And for them just to go,
yeah. Now with 76 blades.
That's what they looked like anyway. For some reason, I looked at it and I thought, this is a Razer ad.
I also like the interface they had on that little screen. It's worth watching this video just so you know what the fuck we're talking about, by the way. But yeah, they have this like touch screen that they're
very minority reportish.
Yeah, very minority surface kind of thing.
And it's like, wow, that's awesome, but in no way representative of how the game plays. I have seen gameplay footage.
Yeah.
There's a gameplay video on, I think it's up on GameSpot and Game Trailers or whatever. All the other reputable sites report on everything. It's the most interesting thing is how you can zoom right down onto the playing field or right back up, and it does look like a board game. So it's in a board, a self-contained table sort of thing. There's
a new engine that's being used for it.
Sure.
Apparently based on doing that.
Okay.
I can't remember what it's called. Zoom, Chris Zoom or something Zoom. Can't remember, but Zoom is the key, and the point is that you can go right in or right out.
Yeah.
Which is not new. I remember the black and white engine being actually surprisingly good for that.
Yeah, but this one it does look kind of funky. But we'll see. I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, yay! More strategy games on the console.
If there's one that does something cool, that'll be interesting. A bit of a gimmick could be fun.
Yep.
It actually reminds me of the game Diplomacy.
Yeah.
Which is a board game.
That sounded, yeah.
Which is based on the concept that you can tell what your orders are going to be, but what you actually write down
is going to be something different,
quite substantially.
Yeah. Well, look, we're running out of time here. And
wow,
I'm really loud. Look at me. Look how loud I am.
Wow, that's exciting. Do we have anything else we need to cover?
Nope. Supernova is on in Brisbane this weekend.
Yeah.
Matt and I are actually going to be up on stage at 4 o'clock on
Indeed.
Saturday afternoon interviewing Steve Staminidis, creative director at Chrome Studios, where he's
I
going
may
to
be doing Naruto cosplay.
You serious?
No, I'm...
Thank fuck for that. You did say you were going to steal Yahtzee's hat and go as Yahtzee,
I was going to cosplay as Yahtzee. I'm not sure if I've decided not to do that.
That
purely
would be
because I
pretty
don't
funny.
want to steal Yahtzee's hat, because that would be weird, and I don't have time to get my own.
Just steal his hat. He's got a couple of them. Just grab one. Oh, that would be funny, man.
Yeah.
And if people come up to you and go, hi, you Yahtzee, just go, yeah, I am. Look, do you want to get in contact with me? Here's my email address. I'd love to hear more from you.
Yeah, no.
Would that be mean?
That would be mean.
But listen, Steve's actually going to be up on stage talking about a couple of exclusives.
Sweet.
Tiger Tasmanian Tiger 4.
Okay.
For example, they'll be showing a bunch of concept art, talking about that. They're also going to be showing gameplay footage from their first original IP in a long time, Blade Kitten. Gameplay. They'll be playing it up on stage, first time anyway. So that's really cool. We have exclusives.
And Johan Vasquez is also there.
Who?
The Invader Zim dude. And Jonah the Homicidal Maniac. And
Who?
Squee.
Who? What?
What?
What
do
do
you not know this dude?
Not know who? What? Who?
Johan Vasquez.
What? Are you talking English?
No, it's probably
If you
Polish.
say Vasquez, all I think is aliens. But, you know.
The dude who designed and drew Invader Zim.
Okay.
And
all right.
Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
Who?
And Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
Okay.
And Happy Noodle Boy. And Squee.
Jesus. I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we might see you at Supernova.
Squee.
Hopefully we'll see you, we won't see you, but we'll talk to you next week.
Squee.
And, goodbye.
Bye-bye, kitty.